Hello friends, how are you? Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of U.S. Lincoln pennies, iconic coins with incredible history, hidden treasures, and shocking values. In this video, we're exploring the top 3 rare and valuable 1-cent Lincoln pennies, the 1962 no mint mark, the 1971 no mint mark, and the 1973 D Lincoln penny. These copper-colored coins may look ordinary at first glance, but certain examples, with unusual conditions, rare errors, unique color shades, and special minting characteristics, could be worth far more than their 1-cent face value. Some rare coins have sold for thousands of dollars, while the rarest examples can reach extraordinary prices. So before you spend, clean, or sell that old penny, stick around. You could be holding a hidden treasure in your hands. Now, let's begin with our first coin, the 1962 Lincoln penny. Fist coin. Welcome back to Change Your Life, where today we are beginning an incredible journey into the world of American coins, hidden treasures, forgotten collections, and ordinary-looking pennies that can sometimes tell extraordinary stories. This is the first coin in our top 3 Lincoln penny discoveries. And it is a coin that many people may have seen hundreds of times without ever realizing that its history could be worth a closer look. Today, we are examining the 1962 Lincoln Memorial 1-cent penny with no mint mark. Before you throw that old penny into a jar, spend it at face value, or assume that it is nothing more than 1 cent, stop for a moment and take a closer look. The date, the mint mark, the condition, the color, the strike, the surface, and any unusual characteristics can all affect how collectors view a coin. A normal example may be common, but an exceptional example with a genuine minting error or unusual characteristic can become much more interesting. The 1962 Lincoln penny is more than just an old piece of copper-colored metal. It is a small piece of American history. It carries the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. For decades, these coins traveled through American life. They were placed in pockets, cash registers, drawers, banks, vending machines, and household coin jars. Millions of people handled them without ever imagining that collectors in the future would examine their surfaces under magnification. And now, more than half a century later, some people are asking a very important question. Could a 1962 no mint mark Lincoln penny be worth far more than 1 cent? Could a rare example be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more? And what is the real market value of this coin today? The answer begins with understanding exactly what the coin is. On the front of the coin, you will see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. Above him is the famous phrase, "In God We Trust." To the side is the word liberty, and below the portrait is the date 1962. If there is no letter beneath the date, the coin is known as a no mint mark example. Now, many new collectors hear the words, "no mint mark," and immediately believe the coin must be extremely rare. But that is not always true. The Philadelphia Mint traditionally produced many United States coins without a mint mark. So the absence of a letter can be normal for certain years. The important question is not simply whether there is no mint mark. The important question is what makes that specific 1962 penny different from the millions of other examples. This is where the real treasure hunt begins. Imagine finding a 1962 Lincoln penny in an old box. The coin is dark, dirty, and worn. At first, you may think it has no value. But then you look more carefully. You notice the date is clearly visible. You examine the surface. You look at the lettering. You study Lincoln's portrait. You turn the coin over and inspect the Lincoln Memorial. Perhaps the coin is completely ordinary. Or perhaps you notice something unusual. Maybe the coin has an unusual strike. Maybe there is evidence of doubling. Maybe the edge appears strange. Maybe the surface has an unusual characteristic that deserves professional examination. Or perhaps the coin has survived in an incredibly high state of preservation after more than 60 years. These details can make a difference. But let us make one thing very clear. A normal 1962 no mint mark Lincoln cent is not automatically $1 million coin. The date alone does not guarantee a fortune. The absence of a mint mark alone does not guarantee a fortune. A dirty surface does not guarantee a fortune. And an online listing with an unbelievable price does not prove that a coin is actually worth that amount. The real value of a coin depends on several factors, including rarity, Condition, authenticity, collector demand, and whether the coin possesses a genuine and recognized error or variety. This is one of the most important lessons in the entire world of coin collecting. Two coins can have the same date and the same design but have completely different values. One coin may have spent decades in circulation. It may be scratched, worn, stained, and damaged. Another coin may have been carefully protected since the day it was made. It may retain sharp details, attractive original color, and a surface with very few marks. To the untrained eye, both coins may simply be 1962 pennies. To a collector, they can be completely different. Condition is one of the most important factors in determining the desirability of a coin. When collectors examine a Lincoln cent, they look closely at the amount of wear. They study Lincoln's hair, cheek, jaw, clothing, the date, the lettering, and the overall surface. On the reverse, they examine the Lincoln Memorial, the columns, the steps, the lettering, and the rim. A heavily circulated coin may show smooth areas where the original details have worn away. A high-quality example may retain much sharper details. But even among coins that appear uncirculated, there can be major differences. Some may have scratches, contact marks, dull surfaces, weak strikes, or unnatural color. Others may be beautifully preserved. This is why a professional grade can matter. A coin that appears to be in excellent condition may be evaluated by a professional grading service. The grade helps collectors compare coins using a standardized system. But even a high grade does not automatically mean a coin is worth millions. The coin must still have collector demand, and its exact characteristics must be understood. Now let us talk about the color of the 1962 Lincoln cent. Because the coin contains copper, its appearance can change over time. Some examples may have a reddish color. Others may develop a reddish-brown appearance. Many older circulated coins become brown as the surface naturally changes through exposure to air, moisture, handling, and the environment. This is why the color of a copper coin can be an important part of its story. However, you must be extremely careful. A shiny coin is not automatically a valuable coin. Some people believe that polishing an old penny will make it more valuable. In reality, cleaning and polishing can damage the original surface and reduce collector appeal. If you discover a 1962 penny that looks old, dirty, dark, or unusual, do not scrub it. Do not polish it. Do not use chemicals. Do not scrape the surface. Do not try to make the coin look new. The dirt itself may not be valuable, but the original surface of the coin can be important. A coin that has been cleaned may show unnatural lines and scratches. A coin that has been treated with chemicals may have an unusual appearance. A coin that has been polished may lose the original characteristics that collectors want to see. So if you believe your 1962 no mint mark Lincoln penny may be valuable, preserve it exactly as you found it. Now, one of the most exciting possibilities is the discovery of a genuine mint error. Mint errors happen during the process of producing coins. The process involves blanks, dies, striking equipment, and multiple stages of manufacturing. When something goes wrong during production, an unusual coin can sometimes be created. Some errors can involve the planche. Others can involve the dies. Some involve the striking process. A major and genuine error can make a coin much more interesting to collectors. But this is where many people make mistakes. Not every unusual mark is a mint error. A scratch may be a scratch. A dent may be a dent. A flattened area may have been caused by machinery or circulation. A strange-looking edge may have been damaged after the coin left the mint. A dark spot may be corrosion or environmental damage. The fact that a coin looks strange does not automatically make it rare. This is why the exact evidence matters. If you believe your 1962 penny has a genuine error, compare it with a normal example. Examine the design under good lighting. Look closely at the date, the letters, the portrait, the rim, and the reverse. If something appears doubled or shifted, the appearance should be examined carefully. Some forms of doubling are more significant than others. Some apparent doubling can be caused by the manufacturing process or later damage. A genuine collectible variety must be identified correctly. The same principle applies to the reverse of the coin. The Lincoln Memorial contains many details. Look carefully at the columns, the steps, the lettering, and the rim. If something appears unusual, do not immediately assume it is a rare error. The best approach is to protect the coin and seek a professional opinion if the characteristic appears significant. Now, let us talk about the history of the 1962 Lincoln cent. When this coin was made, it was intended to be used as money. It was not created as a $1 million collectible. It was created for ordinary American commerce. It could be used in stores, carried in pockets, placed in cash registers, or saved in household containers. But history changes the way people see everyday objects. A coin that was once worth 1 cent can become interesting decades later because of its age, survival, condition, or rarity. The people who originally used these coins could not know how collectors in the future would study them. The 1962 penny also represents a period in American history when the Lincoln Memorial design had become a familiar part of everyday life. The image of Lincoln on the front and the memorial on the back connected everyday money with American history. For many people, the Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It is a memory. It may remind someone of childhood. It may have been found in an old family collection. It may have been passed down from a parent or grandparent. It may have spent decades in a forgotten drawer. And that is why collectors continue searching. They are not only searching for money, they are searching for history. Now, what is the market value of a 1962 no-mint mark Lincoln penny today? The honest answer depends on the individual coin. A normal circulated example is generally not a $1 million coin. Many examples exist, and ordinary pieces usually have modest value. A coin in better condition may be more desirable. A high-grade example may attract stronger collector interest. A genuine and significant mint error may be worth substantially more than a normal coin. But the exact value must be determined by the coin itself. This is why you should never believe a shocking price simply because someone wrote it in an online listing. An asking price is not necessarily a selling price. Someone can list a common penny for an enormous amount of money. But that does not mean a qualified buyer will actually pay that amount. A true market value is based on real demand and credible sales. So if someone says, this 1962 no-mint mark penny is worth millions, the correct question is, what makes this exact coin so rare? Is it a genuine mint error? Is it in extraordinary condition? Is it a recognized variety? Has it been authenticated? Has a comparable example actually sold for the claimed amount? These questions are extremely important. The word millions can create excitement, but the coin market is based on evidence. A normal 1962 Lincoln cent does not automatically become a $1 million coin simply because it is old. A dirty coin is not automatically valuable. A shiny coin is not automatically valuable. A no-mint mark coin is not automatically rare. But a truly unusual, rare, authenticated, and highly desirable example can be much more valuable than an ordinary penny. That is why you should examine the coin carefully. Let us imagine that you have found one in your home. The first step is to confirm the date. Make sure the coin really says 1962. Then look beneath the date and check whether there is a mint mark. Next, inspect the entire coin. Look at Lincoln's portrait. Study the hair, cheek, jaw, and clothing. Examine the word Liberty and the date. Look for unusual shapes, doubling, or other characteristics. But remember that damage can sometimes imitate an error. Turn the coin over. Examine the Lincoln Memorial. Look at the columns. Look at the steps. Look at the lettering. Look at the rim. Study the entire surface instead of focusing on one random mark. If the coin appears to have a major error, protect it. Do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not scrape it. Do not put chemicals on it. Do not attempt to repair it. The original condition is part of the evidence. Now, let us talk about the possibility of a dirty 1962 penny. Many old coins are dirty because they have been handled for decades. Some have been exposed to moisture. Some have been stored in containers with other coins. Some have been buried or forgotten. But dirt does not automatically mean rarity. In fact, a dirty coin may be completely ordinary. The important thing is what is underneath the surface and whether the coin has been damaged. If you believe the coin may be valuable, professional evaluation is safer than home cleaning. A professional may be able to determine whether the surface is natural, altered, corroded, or damaged. This is especially important when the coin appears to have unusual color. Copper naturally changes over time, but artificial treatments can also change a coin's appearance. A bright red color may be attractive, but it must be natural. A polished coin may look shiny but have reduced collector appeal. A dark brown coin may be ordinary, or it may have an attractive natural surface. The appearance must be judged as a whole. Now, let us return to the biggest question. Could a 1962 no-mint mark Lincoln penny make you rich overnight? The honest answer is that most ordinary examples will not. Coin collecting is not a guaranteed way to become wealthy overnight. The excitement comes from learning how to recognize rarity. The more you understand about coins, the less likely you are to overlook an unusual discovery. Knowledge can help you avoid two major mistakes. The first mistake is throwing away or spending a potentially valuable coin without examining it. The second mistake is believing every exaggerated claim about a coin being worth millions. Both mistakes can be avoided through careful examination. A rare coin must be genuinely rare. A valuable error must be a genuine error. A high-grade coin must truly have exceptional preservation. And a claimed market value must be supported by real evidence. That is the difference between a real treasure and an internet rumor. The 1962 Lincoln penny also reminds us that age alone is not everything. There are many old coins that are common. There are also newer coins that can be valuable because of rare errors or exceptional condition. This is why serious collectors study the entire coin. They look at the date. They look at the mint mark. They look at the condition. They look at the color. They look at the strike. They look at the surface. They look for genuine errors. They compare examples. And they seek authentication when necessary. So if you find a 1962 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, do not automatically assume that you have found a fortune. But do not automatically ignore it either. Take a moment to examine it. A normal circulated example may be worth only a small amount. A better preserved example may be more desirable. A high-grade example may attract collectors. A genuine major error may be worth significantly more. The exact answer depends on the specific coin in your hand. That is the truth behind the excitement. A 1962 penny may have been worth only 1 cent when it entered circulation. It may have been used in everyday American life. It may have traveled through stores and homes. It may have been forgotten for decades. But today, collectors can look at that same coin and ask an entirely different question. What has happened to it since the day it was made? Has it survived in remarkable condition? Has it developed a unique natural appearance? Does it show a genuine minting error? Was it preserved by chance? Or is it simply an ordinary coin that has survived through time? That mystery is what makes coin collecting so fascinating. The next time you see an old 1962 Lincoln penny, take a closer look before you spend it. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Examine the front. Examine the reverse. Look at the color. Look at the condition. Look for anything unusual. But do not clean it. Do not polish it. Do not trust an unbelievable price without evidence. And do not assume that every old penny is worthless. Because sometimes, the smallest details can tell the biggest story. The 1962 no-mint mark Lincoln cent may not automatically be a $1,000,000 coin, but an unusual and authenticated example could be far more interesting than a normal penny. The real value is hidden in the details, and only careful examination can reveal what makes one coin different from another. So before you spend that old penny, look again. Before you throw it into a jar, look again. Before you sell it for a price that sounds too low, look again. Because the coin in your hand may be common. It may be worth only a small amount. Or it may have a rare characteristic that deserves professional attention. And that is the incredible mystery of American coin collecting. A small 1-cent coin can carry more than a date and a design. It can carry history. It can carry memories. It can carry a story that has traveled through generations. And sometimes, if the right combination of rarity, condition, authenticity, and collector demand comes together, that story can become surprisingly valuable. So keep searching through those old collections, coin jars, drawers, boxes, and forgotten containers. Learn what you are looking at. Protect unusual coins. Never clean potentially valuable pieces. Because the next 1962 Lincoln penny you find may not make you a billionaire overnight. But it could still be a fascinating piece of American history, and if it has a genuine rare characteristic, it could be worth far more than its original 1-cent value. This is why collectors never stop looking. Because sometimes, the most valuable discovery is hiding in the coin that everyone else has already ignored. Next up, welcome back to Change Your Life, where today we are continuing our journey into the fascinating and sometimes shocking world of American coins. In this episode, we are looking at the second coin in our top 3 Lincoln penny discoveries. A coin that may look ordinary at first glance but carries a fascinating story of American history. Coin production, collecting, and hidden value. The coin we are examining today is the 1971 Lincoln Memorial 1-cent penny with no mint mark. Now, before you spend that old penny, throw it into a jar, or assume that it is worth only 1 cent, take a closer look. The date, the mint mark, the condition, the color, the surface, the strike, and any unusual characteristics can all play a role in determining what a coin may be worth. Some pennies are common and remain close to their face value, while others become much more desirable because of exceptional condition, unusual varieties, or genuine minting errors. The 1971 Lincoln penny is especially interesting because the absence of a mint mark can immediately attract the attention of new collectors. When you look at the coin, you will see the date 1971 on the front. And beneath the date there is no letter such as D or S. This is known as a no mint mark coin. But here is an important point that every collector must understand. No mint mark does not automatically mean rare. In many years, coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint were released without a mint mark. So the absence of a letter can be completely normal. However, even when a coin is common in general, individual examples can still become valuable for other reasons. The real excitement begins when you examine the specific coin in your hand. Is it heavily circulated, or does it look almost untouched? Is the color naturally red, reddish-brown, or brown? Does it have unusual doubling? Is there a major strike error? Is the surface original, or has someone cleaned or altered it? These questions can make a much bigger difference than the date alone. The 1971 Lincoln cent is part of the famous Lincoln Memorial cent era. On the front of the coin is the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most recognizable figures in American history. Lincoln faces to the right, with the words "In God We Trust" above him, "Liberty" beside him, and the date 1971 below. On the reverse is the Lincoln Memorial, surrounded by the words "United States of America, et pluribus unum," and 1 cent. When this coin was produced, it was not created as a rare treasure. It was made for everyday American commerce. It could have been used to buy small items, placed in a cash register, carried in a pocket, or stored in a household coin jar. Millions of people may have handled coins from the same era without ever imagining that decades later, collectors would carefully examine them under magnification. That is what makes coin collecting so fascinating. A coin can be completely ordinary when it is released and become historically interesting later. Time changes the way people look at objects. A penny that once represented only 1 cent can eventually become a piece of American history. But now comes the question that every viewer wants answered. What is a 1971 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth today? The honest answer is that there is no single value for every 1971 no mint mark cent. A normal circulated coin is usually not a $1 million coin. Many examples can still be found, and the majority of ordinary pieces have modest value. But a coin in exceptional condition, with a genuine and significant error, or with a rare combination of characteristics, can be much more interesting to collectors. This is the difference between a normal coin and a truly special coin. The date alone does not create a fortune. The value comes from rarity, condition, demand, authenticity, and the exact characteristics of the individual coin. Imagine placing 2 1971 pennies side by side. Both have the same date. Both have no mint mark. Both are made from the same general type of metal. But one has been carried in circulation for decades. Its surfaces are worn, the design is softer, and the coin may have scratches and stains. The other may have been stored carefully and show extremely sharp details with very little wear. These two coins may have very different collector appeal. This is why condition is so important. Collectors often pay close attention to the amount of wear on the highest points of Lincoln's portrait and the Lincoln Memorial design. They examine the lettering, the date, the rim, and the fields of the coin. A coin with fewer marks and stronger details may be more desirable than one that has spent years moving through circulation. The color of the copper surface can also be important. Over time, copper naturally changes appearance. Some coins develop a brown color. Others may retain reddish tones. A coin with attractive original color and excellent preservation can attract more attention than a heavily worn or damaged example. But do not make the mistake of believing that a shiny coin is automatically valuable. A bright appearance can sometimes be the result of cleaning, polishing, chemicals, or other alterations. Many beginners believe that making an old penny shine will increase its value. Unfortunately, the opposite can happen. Cleaning may leave scratches and unnatural surfaces that reduce collector appeal. So if you discover an old 1971 penny that looks unusual, do not polish it. Do not scrub it with a cloth. Do not use chemicals. Do not scrape away the dirt. Handle it carefully by the edges and preserve the surface as you found it. The dirt itself is not what makes a coin valuable. The important question is what happened to the coin before you found it. Was the dark color caused by natural aging? Is there corrosion? Is the surface damaged? Was the coin cleaned in the past? Or does it simply have an attractive natural patina? These details can matter. Now, one of the most exciting possibilities for the 1971 no mint mark Lincoln cent is the presence of a genuine mint error or unusual variety. A real mint error occurs during the manufacturing process. It can involve the planche, the dies, or the striking process. When a major error is confirmed, the coin can become much more interesting to collectors. But there is a serious warning here. Not every strange-looking penny has a mint error. A scratch is not automatically a mint error. A dent is not automatically a mint error. A flattened area caused by machinery or circulation is not automatically a rare variety. Damage that occurs after a coin leaves the mint is called post-mint damage, and it can sometimes look very unusual. This is why professional examination matters. A coin may look shocking to the naked eye, but a trained expert can help determine whether the unusual feature was created during production or happened later. One feature that collectors often examine is possible doubling. If letters, numbers, or design elements appear doubled, the coin may deserve closer inspection. But not every appearance of doubling represents a valuable doubled die. Some forms of machine doubling can create a flat, shelf-like appearance that is different from true hub doubling. The exact characteristics matter. The date is another area that should be examined carefully. Look at the numbers under good lighting. Compare them with a normal example. Are the shapes unusual? Is there evidence of a genuine variety? Is the appearance caused by damage? These questions cannot always be answered simply by looking at a photograph. The same is true of the word liberty and the lettering around the coin. A strange mark may be a die characteristic, a scratch, a stain, or an actual minting anomaly. The more dramatic and clearly identifiable the error, the more attention it may receive. The reverse of the 1971 Lincoln cent also deserves careful examination. Look at the Lincoln Memorial, the columns, the lettering, the rim, and the overall strike. If a coin has an unusual strike or a major production error, the reverse may provide important evidence. But remember this. A coin does not become worth millions simply because someone posts a photograph online and claims a huge value. Anyone can list a coin for an unbelievable price. The real question is whether a qualified buyer actually paid that amount. This is one of the biggest problems in the modern coin world. People often confuse an asking price with a market value. A seller may advertise an ordinary penny for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. That does not prove the coin is worth that amount. A true market value is based on real demand and credible transactions. So when someone says, "This 1971 penny is worth millions," the correct response is to ask, what makes this exact coin different? Is the feature genuine? Has it been authenticated? Has a comparable example actually sold for that price? Those questions can protect you from unrealistic claims. Now, could a 1971 no mint marked penny ever be worth significantly more than 1 cent? Yes, depending on its condition and characteristics. An exceptionally preserved example may attract collectors. A genuine major error may be more valuable. A rare and authenticated variety may have strong demand. But a normal circulated 1971 penny should not automatically be described as a $1 million coin. The value of a coin is always connected to the individual example. This is why serious collectors inspect coins carefully instead of relying only on headlines. They use magnification. They compare examples. They study the design. They examine the surfaces. They look for evidence of circulation, cleaning, alteration, and genuine mint characteristics. If you find a 1971 no mint mark Lincoln penny, start by confirming the date. Make sure the coin really says 1971. Then examine the area beneath the date and confirm that there is no mint mark. After that, inspect the overall condition. Look at the front of the coin. Examine Lincoln's hair, cheek, jaw, and clothing. Look at the lettering and the date. Are the details sharp, or are they worn smooth? Do you see scratches? Is the surface covered with marks? Does the color look natural? Then turn the coin over and examine the Lincoln Memorial. Look at the columns, the steps, the lettering, and the rim. Pay attention to anything that looks unusual, but do not immediately assume that every unusual mark is valuable. If the coin appears to have a major error, protect it. Do not clean it. Do not place tape directly on the surface. Do not glue it into a container. Avoid touching the face of the coin unnecessarily. The original surface is important. The history of the 1971 penny also makes it interesting. It represents an era when the United States was producing enormous numbers of coins for daily commerce. These pennies traveled through a nation that was changing rapidly. They passed through stores, homes, machines, pockets, and banks. Some were lost, some were destroyed, some were saved by collectors. Others survived for decades in excellent condition. When you hold a coin from 1971, you're holding an object that has existed for more than half a century. It may have been touched by people whose stories you will never know. It may have traveled hundreds or thousands of miles. It may have been placed in a drawer and forgotten for decades. That history is part of the appeal. The Lincoln Memorial design also gives this coin a special connection to American culture. The image of Lincoln on the front and the memorial on the reverse created a design that became familiar to generations of Americans. For many people, this is the penny they remember from childhood. And even though millions of examples were produced, the surviving coins are not all identical in condition. Some are worn, some are damaged, some are stained, some were cleaned, some were carefully protected. That is why collectors examine individual coins rather than simply collecting dates. Now let us discuss the possibility of finding a valuable coin in dirty condition. A dirty coin can still be valuable, but dirt does not automatically increase value. In some cases, what appears to be dirt may actually be corrosion or damage. In other cases, it may simply be surface grime from years of handling. The safest approach is to leave the coin alone. Do not attempt to reveal hidden details by scrubbing. If the coin is potentially valuable, professional evaluation is safer than home cleaning. A coin that has been cleaned may lose some of its collector appeal because the original surface has been disturbed. Even if the coin looks brighter, the damage caused by cleaning can be permanent. This is especially important when someone believes they have found a rare error. The original surface can help professionals determine what happened to the coin. Scrubbing, polishing, or chemical treatment can destroy evidence. Now, what about the idea that a 1971 no mint mark Lincoln cent could make you rich overnight? The honest answer is that most ordinary examples will not. Coin collecting is not a guaranteed overnight wealth system. The real opportunity comes from knowledge. If you understand what to look for, you are less likely to overlook an unusual coin and less likely to be fooled by exaggerated claims. A rare coin can be valuable, but rarity must be real. A coin that is common in circulated condition may be much harder to find in exceptional condition. A particular mint error may be extremely unusual. A variety may be known among specialists. A coin with a unique combination of features may attract serious attention. But the value must be supported by evidence. This is why authentication becomes more important as the potential value increases. If someone claims that a penny is worth an enormous amount of money, the coin should be examined by qualified professionals. A serious buyer will usually want confidence that the coin is genuine. The coin market also changes over time. Collector interest can rise and fall. Prices depend on demand. A coin that attracts intense attention from collectors may command more than a coin that few people want. This is another reason why no single price can be guaranteed for every 1971 penny. So, if you have a 1971 no mint mark Lincoln cent, what should you do? First, do not panic and do not immediately assume that you are a millionaire. Second, do not throw the coin away. Examine it carefully. Third, never clean it. Fourth, compare its characteristics with reliable information and, if it appears genuinely unusual, consider professional evaluation. The most important thing is to understand the difference between a normal coin and an extraordinary coin. A normal 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is generally a common collectible coin, especially in circulated condition. Its value is usually modest. But a highly preserved example or a coin with a genuine, significant, authenticated error may be worth more. The exact value depends on the coin. That is the real answer. Not every old penny is a hidden fortune. But not every penny should be ignored either. The next time you find a 1971 Lincoln cent, take a second look. Check the date, check the surface, check the color, check the condition, check the design. Look for genuine signs of something unusual. But do not let a shocking headline replace careful examination. The most valuable lesson in coin collecting is that knowledge is more powerful than excitement. A dramatic story can make you curious, but careful inspection helps you understand what you actually have. And if your 1971 no-mint mark penny is simply a normal circulated coin, it can still be valuable as a piece of American history. It is a surviving object from another time. It carries the image of Abraham Lincoln and the Lincoln Memorial. It represents the everyday life of American commerce more than 50 years ago. But if your coin has a rare, genuine, and authenticated characteristic, then the story could become much more interesting. That is why collectors continue searching. They search old jars. They search inherited collections. They search drawers and boxes. They search rolls of coins. They examine pennies that other people overlook. Because sometimes, the difference between an ordinary coin and a valuable discovery is hidden in a detail so small that most people never notice it. So before you spend your 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, look at it one more time. Is it worn and ordinary? Is it unusually well preserved? Does it have natural original color? Does the design show something unusual? Is there a genuine mint error? Has the coin been altered or damaged? Those are the questions that matter. And if someone tells you that every 1971 no-mint mark penny is automatically worth millions of dollars, remember that the truth is more complicated. The coin must be judged individually. The market value depends on rarity, condition, authenticity, and demand. A normal penny may be worth only a small amount. A special penny may be worth considerably more. And an extraordinary, authenticated example can tell a completely different story. That is the mystery and excitement of coin collecting. A coin that once passed through everyday American life may now be sitting quietly in your hand. It may look dirty. It may look ordinary. It may appear completely unimportant. But the only way to know what you really have is to examine the details. So keep searching, keep learning, and never clean a potentially valuable coin. Because the next old penny you find may not make you a millionaire overnight, but it may contain a story, a rare characteristic, or a piece of history that is far more valuable than you ever expected. And this 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln cent proves one thing: sometimes the smallest coins can create the biggest questions. If you enjoyed this journey into the history and potential value of the 1971 Lincoln penny, stay with us for more fascinating stories about rare American coins, unusual mint errors, valuable varieties, and hidden treasures that may still be waiting inside old collections. Forgotten drawers, coin jars, and pockets across America. Before you spend that old penny, look again. Because sometimes, the difference between 1 cent and a valuable collectible is hidden in the smallest detail. Welcome back to Change Your Life, where ordinary-looking coins can sometimes hide extraordinary stories. Today, we are looking at the third and final coin in our exciting journey through valuable Lincoln cents. And this time, the coin in front of us is a 1973 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it may look like nothing more than a simple 1-cent coin. It may be dirty, scratched, dark, brown, or covered with years of wear. It may have been sitting in an old jar, a drawer, a box, a pocket, or even forgotten inside a collection for decades. But before you dismiss it as just another penny, take a closer look. Because when it comes to coin collecting, sometimes the smallest details can make the biggest difference. The 1973 Lincoln cent carries the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the D mint mark, which tells us that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. The Lincoln cent is one of the most recognizable coins in American history. And millions of people have handled these coins without ever wondering about their hidden stories. But collectors know that every coin has a history. Every coin passed through a minting process. Every coin was struck under specific conditions. And sometimes, something unusual can happen during that process. That is where the real excitement begins. Now, let me make something very important clear before we go deeper. Simply finding the date 1973 and the letter D does not automatically make a Lincoln penny worth millions of dollars. A normal 1973 D penny is generally a common coin. Its value can be close to its face value if it is heavily worn, dirty, damaged, or circulated. But rare coins are not always valuable because of their date alone. The real question is whether the coin has something unusual that separates it from the millions of ordinary examples. This is exactly why collectors do not simply look at a coin and say, "It is old, so it must be valuable." They examine the date, the mint mark, the condition, the color, the strike, the surfaces, and the possibility of a genuine minting error. They compare the coin to normal examples. They look for unusual characteristics that may have been created during the manufacturing process. And they pay close attention to the condition of the coin because condition can dramatically change the value of a collectible coin. The 1973 D Lincoln cent is especially interesting because it belongs to an era when the United States was producing huge numbers of 1-cent coins for everyday use. These pennies were made to circulate. They were placed into pockets, cash registers, vending machines, banks, stores, and homes. They were exposed to moisture, dirt, chemicals, friction, and years of handling. That is why finding a truly beautiful, sharply detailed, original example can be much more difficult than finding a worn example. When a coin has been in circulation for decades, the highest points of the design usually begin to lose their sharpness. Lincoln's hair, cheek, jawline, and the details of the lettering can become smooth. The wheat ears on earlier Lincoln cents are not present on this later design. But the memorial design on the reverse can still show signs of wear. The edges may become damaged, and the surface may develop scratches or discoloration. All of these factors can affect the coin's collectible appeal. But there is another important feature that attracts collectors: color. When people hear the word copper, they often assume that every penny should have the same bright reddish appearance. In reality, copper-colored coins can change dramatically over time. A fresh coin may have a bright red appearance. As the coin ages and reacts with the environment, the color can gradually change to reddish-brown or brown. Collectors may pay close attention to original color because a coin that has maintained attractive natural color can be more desirable than a coin that has been heavily exposed to the elements. This is why you should be very careful with a dirty or dark 1973 D penny. Many people make the mistake of grabbing a cleaning product, a chemical, or a polishing cloth and trying to make the coin look shiny. That can be a serious mistake. Cleaning a collectible coin can leave scratches, remove the original surface, and reduce its appeal to collectors. A coin that looks dirty may sometimes have an original surface underneath that collectors would prefer to preserve. So if you find a 1973 D Lincoln cent that looks old, dark, or dirty, do not immediately polish it. Do not scrape it. Do not rub it aggressively. Do not use household chemicals. The safest approach is to handle it carefully by the edges and keep it in a protective holder until you know what you have. Now let's talk about the D mint mark. The small letter D below the date is one of the most important identifying features of this coin. It indicates that the coin was made at the Denver Mint. But the mint mark alone does not make the coin a million-dollar treasure. This is one of the biggest misunderstandings in the coin world. The true value comes from the combination of factors. A coin can become highly desirable because of an unusual minting error, a rare variety, an exceptional state of preservation, or a combination of characteristics that makes it extremely difficult to find. In some cases, collectors may search through thousands or even millions of coins before discovering a truly unusual example. Imagine the production process. Blank metal planchets are prepared, moved through the minting system, and struck between dies that carry the design. The pressure involved is enormous. The dies must be aligned correctly. The planchet must be positioned properly. The machinery must operate within precise limits. When something goes wrong, the result can sometimes create an error. A coin might be struck off-center. A design might be doubled. A die might crack. A coin might be struck with an unusual die problem. A planchet might have an abnormal appearance. Some errors are obvious, while others are extremely subtle. And not every unusual-looking coin is a genuine mint error. Damage after the coin leaves the mint can create strange shapes and markings that may look exciting but have little collectible value. This is why authentication is so important. A genuine mint error is not simply a coin that has been scratched, bent, stained, or damaged. The characteristics must be consistent with the way coins are produced. Collectors and experts study the details carefully. They ask whether the feature was created at the mint or after the coin entered circulation. This brings us to the most exciting question. Could a 1973 D Lincoln penny be worth an extraordinary amount of money? The answer depends entirely on the individual coin. A normal circulated 1973 D penny is not a $1 million coin. It is not automatically worth thousands or millions just because it is made of copper or because it carries the Denver D mint mark. However, a rare and highly unusual example with a genuine, important error or an extraordinary level of preservation could be much more desirable than a normal coin. This is the difference between a regular coin and a true collector's coin. Two pennies can have the same date and mint mark, yet their values can be completely different. One may have been heavily circulated for decades. The other may have remained in remarkable condition. One may have a damaged surface. The other may possess an authentic minting error. One may be common. The other may be extremely difficult to locate. That is why the phrase, "check your change," has become so popular among collectors. The possibility of finding something unusual is what makes coin hunting exciting. You do not need to be a millionaire to begin collecting. You do not need expensive equipment to start examining coins. Sometimes, all you need is patience, good lighting, and the willingness to look carefully. If you have a 1973 D Lincoln cent, begin by examining the date. Make sure the date is actually 1973 and not a damaged or altered number. Then look at the mint mark. Is the D clear and natural? Does it look like part of the original design? Are there unusual marks around it? Do not assume every strange-looking letter is a rare error. Damage can happen after the coin leaves the mint, especially around the date and mint mark. Next, examine the entire surface. Look for unusual doubling in the lettering and numbers. Look at the word Liberty. Look at the date. Look at the lettering on the reverse. Genuine doubling can sometimes be very different from simple damage or machine doubling. The details matter. Then examine the edges. A coin's edge can reveal clues about damage, alteration, or unusual production characteristics. If the edge looks strangely shaped, heavily damaged, or different from a normal example, compare it carefully with another 1973 D cent. The goal is not to find something strange simply because it looks strange. The goal is to find something that can be explained as a genuine feature of the minting process.